Tonight on News 5 Live, 4 more COVID deaths and Belize City is leading the numbers of cases. More details emerge on the confrontation between BDF and Guatemalan civilians in the Chiquibul, and Bishop Moses Bengushe expresses concern about both physical and psychological effects of marijuana. These stories and more coming up next on News 5 Live.
Morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
If you have a baby on the way, here is what you need to know about maternity benefit. It includes both an allowance for 14 weeks and a grant, which is a lump sum of $300. The basic requirements are: you must be employed, you must have at least 50 paid contributions, and you must have continuous contributions leading up to delivery. To apply, a licensed doctor certifies the expected date of delivery. The employer completes the salaries record. Submit your completed claim form as soon as possible. After giving birth, submit your continuation claim no later than 3 weeks after delivery. If the mother does not qualify, the father of the child may qualify for the maternity grant. Want to know more about maternity benefit or grant? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Introducing Edam A cheese, the A+ Dutch cheese to hit the Belizean market. As the name says, it is of A-class quality, the best Dutch cheese in Belize. Edam A cheese is creamier, less salty, and simply more delicious. Don't be left out. Get your A cheese at a supermarket near you. A cheese, exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited. Call us at 610-3626 or 610-8910. Follow us on Facebook at Unitex Belize.
It's time to put your TVs on lockdown. COVID won't stop us this time. After a year of waiting, Summerfest is back, pandemic style. If you're under the age of 18 and you think you have the talent, we are looking for you. Submit videos to us on Facebook, Instagram, and email. Or join us here at Channel 5 on Coney Drive to audition from July 26th to 30th from 10 a.m. to midday. Be a part of Summerfest 2021 and show Belize your talent.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include Cath Lab, Adult Intensive Care Unit, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, July 28th. I am Brighton Codd. There are disturbing numbers tonight from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. 4 people have died from COVID-related complications over the past 2 days. Additionally, 86 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed, while 56 persons have reportedly recovered. The Belize district now leads the nation in COVID cases with more than half, 48 of the 86 new cases. The number of active cases now stands at 403. The ministry is encouraging anyone who has not yet gotten vaccinated to visit the nearest health center as soon as possible. There are disturbing. The Belize Defense Force is mourning the death of Staff Sergeant Victor Martin. He was a special force operator, physical instructor, and mentor to many officers. Martin also had a passion for motorbikes. While heading west from the Belize district on his motorcycle on Tuesday, he collided with a pickup truck and lost his life. News 5's Paul Lopez spoke to Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Velasquez about Martin's years of service to the force.
Staff Sergeant Victor Martin is described as a soldier married to the force. He dedicated 20 years of his life to serving the Belize Defense Force. On Tuesday afternoon, his life came to a tragic end.
He's never had any major incidents before. Just minor stuff like the chain might have burst once or his battery gave trouble, but nothing major. He was always a very careful driver on the bike. He always, whenever anyone saw him, he was well suited. He had his full suit on and his helmet at all times. So this came as a shock because he was a very, very careful rider of his bike.
Martin left Price Barracks in Ladyville Village on his motorcycle at around 4:30 p.m. He was heading west on the highway when he collided head-on into a gray Mazda pickup truck that was being driven at the time by Arely Ayala. Police formally arrested and charged Ayala for the crime of manslaughter by negligence, among other traffic offenses.
Whenever he came around, everyone was apprehensive because he would demand the utmost from everyone physical-wise. He was also an athlete, renowned athlete within Belize who was exposed internationally to track and field. And he was, like anything else that he ever did, he did with dedication and discipline. And he represented Belize regionally and internationally. And the last competition he represented Belize in was the Bakers to Vegas Marathon. And he was a team captain/coach.
The Belize Defense Force recently awarded Martin with a Long Service and Good Conduct Medal for his years of commitment.
Yes, he was a model soldier, if there ever was one. Victor Martin was a model soldier. He excelled in everything he did, and everything he did passionately. Victor didn't have any children, so he was married basically to the Belize Defense Force, dedicated 100% to the BDF. And he's missed by his entire BDF family and by his natural family, his mother, his brothers, and his extended family.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Arely Ayala was also charged with causing death by careless conduct, driving a motor vehicle without due care and attention, and failing to give way when changing directions. There is yet another fire to report tonight, this time in the Antelope Street area of Belize City. A well-known yardman and his wife escaped grave injury when a fire broke inside their wooden home earlier this morning. Investigations indicate it may have been deliberately set. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Today, smoldering debris is all that is left of an elevated wooden structure at number 163 Antelope Street Extension. It was home for over 2 decades for Fitzroy Miles Sr. and his wife Derva and their children. Around 1:30 this morning, the couple was awakened by the smell of smoke.
I get up, I see the house, small blaze. I try to bucket of water for out it. But by the time I reach the bathroom and come back, I carry thing down there. I try for out it. I couldn't deal with it. I don't get my hand messed up, check.
Firefighters were called in. Station Officer Kenneth Mortis describes the scene as the 4th of July fireworks celebration.
On our arrival, we observed what was an elevated wooden bungalow structure fully engulfed in flames in all its glory. By that I mean electrical wiring sparking, explosive butane tanks just kicking off a 4th of July on the 28th of July. We tried our best to contain that fire to the one structure. I am sure you have seen the area, and the footage will show the heavily congestion that we were up against. We had a 7-man crew, and I must recognize the efforts of my firemen at that fire scene this morning. Had we not effectively deployed our firefighting tactics, we could have lost anywhere between 2 to 3 houses or maybe a block.
An investigation has since revealed that the fire was deliberately set by use of an accelerant that was detected by personnel from the National Fire Service.
The fire department have reasons to believe that this fire was set intentionally by persons or persons unknown. We've done our research and we've done our homework. We learned that the family was targeted days before, leading up to the fire. However, the million-dollar question still remains as to who and why. We detected a vague scent because it was a minimal smell that we detected. The traces was found exactly at the rear of the building. We believe that that was the cause of the fire. Bear in mind, you might say, but then doesn't a weed eater have fuel in it as well? That scent that I picked up this morning and what we observed last night was straight accelerant. Everybody who knows weed eater knows that that is a fuel mixed with oil, and that wasn't what we detected this morning at the fire scene.
The Miles were not able to save anything, and their life's work went up in flames. Fitzroy Sr. received injuries to his hands as he initially tried to out the fire.
What he would consider his storeroom, so to speak, where his weed eater and other heavy machine was located, the fire was concentrated there. In his attempt to try and salvage something from the burn, Mr. Miles sustained superficial burns to the palm of his hand.
I see nothing, everything burned right up in there, everything, all my clothes, everything, nothing.
How long you did you live here?
I'm more than 20 years. I was spy on going for 21, 22. Before him born, me live here.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Anyone wanting to assist the Miles family to recover all that has been lost can contact the family at cell phone numbers 610-4134 or 669-9157. Cruise tourism is slowly making a comeback since reopening on July 7th with only 1 ship visiting per week, with ships traveling at around 60% capacity and not all passengers coming off to tour Belize City. Tourism dollars are nowhere near where they used to be. Today, News 5's Marion Ali went to check the situation on the ground and to see if guests to our shores are following the mask mandate.
It was not business as usual for the few taxi and tour operators who stood by hoping for a job outside the 4th Street Tourism Village. They haven't seen good business for quite some time.
My boss has actually designed that we have a bus that you go around the city, they drink, they have a liquor license and they party and they get a nice city tour. You know, and that's usually probably sometimes he'd have 4 or 5 of those trips for the day. Today he only have 1 trip with half a bus. It's just a little, probably about 2% of the people coming off that actually sees the local market, you know, and that stops us because a lot of people still don't have a job.
On slow days like this, what do you do?
Well, I try to interact with the tourists and try to get my sales, but that's been becoming a little problem as well because you know the pandemic is here, we can't really deal with the tourists like we want to. I didn't make any money today, but maybe later on in the day, maybe something comes in.
Director of Cruise Tourism at the Belize Tourism Board, Noriko Gamero, agrees that the industry is off to a slow start so far.
We've had a very slow restart, Marian. I think what we are used to seeing in comparison to what we're seeing now, it's night and day. The amount of tour operators that we had before are still not at the numbers where we once operated in 2019, wherein we were at our peak of over 1.2 million passengers. So the slow restart is there. The tour operators are slowly coming back on board. Like I said, it's a supply and demand market at this point.
Gamero says that the BTB's grants to small stakeholders continue to be disbursed to assist more tour operators and vendors to prepare themselves for the day when cruise tourism will be doing much better than now. Hopefully, that day is not too far off, with more ships promising to dock in our harbor in November.
We continue to offer the grant program to try to get more operators to become active and try to get them operational. The economic restart is essential to get more tour guides back hired. So it's in our best interest to make sure that they also survive. So that's why we have to do these multiple strategies to get them back on board. Selling, marketing themselves, getting their websites up and running as well.
But for anything to be up and running come November, Belize has to ensure that COVID protocols are being upheld. But today, News 5's camera caught a few visitors not wearing their masks properly, or not wearing any mask at all. Gamero says if such incidents are brought to the BTB's attention, they will impress upon the security personnel and police officers present at the facilities that enforcement is key.
The most important thing for the cruise industry is not to have a breakout. I can't enforce enough how important it is that the protocols continue to be abided by. Every security guard, every tour operator and tour guide, we're all part of the team that has to make sure that we enforce these protocols so that the industry can remain open.
Gamero says that since cruise tourism returned in early July, it has brought about 11,000 cruise visitors to our shores. Marin Ali for News 5.
4 days after two standoffs involving a joint team of BDF, forestry personnel, Friends for Conservation Rangers and Guatemalan soldiers and civilians occurred in the Chickabull Reserve, and after many requests made to the BDF and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for information, the ministry has issued a press release. The incident occurred last Friday and Saturday in the area of Rio Blanco in southern Belize. The ministry's release states in part that, quote, on July 23rd and 24th, 2021, both Guatemalan soldiers and armed Guatemalan civilians entered Belizean territory near the area where the BDF was conducting their operations. The routine operations involved the destruction of fences and plantations of beans and pumpkin seeds that were verified by the Organization of American States, OAS, to be in Belizean territory. It is reported that on July 23, 2021, there was some crossfire. A Guatemalan helicopter was also seen flying overhead. On both days, members of the Guatemalan Army, GA, entered Belizean territory to inquire from the BDF about their operations. Following those cordial verbal exchanges, the GA personnel returned to the Guatemalan side of the border, unquote, unquote. News 5 has been reliably informed, however, that while carrying out tasks on July 23rd, the BDF initially spotted 9 Guatemalans, 5 of whom approached the BDF. 3 of the assailants were on foot and 2 were on horseback. The BDF ordered them back and they retreated to a hilltop where about 20 other persons joined them, raised a Guatemalan flag and built a fire. Our source said that while the BDF were destroying a fence, 5 Guatemalans, 2 of whom were armed with rifles, approached the members of the FCD and fired shots at the Rangers. One of the Rangers fired back 1 round and the BDF then advanced and fired 2 more rounds at the Guatemalans, who then reportedly fled the area. The source also mentions the Guatemalan Army helicopter appearing not long afterwards, flying over the patrol, then landing on the Guatemalan side, whereupon 8 Guatemalan soldiers were approached by Guatemalan civilians on the hill. The soldiers then approached the BDF but were stopped and informed they were in Belizean territory, and they said they were there to ensure that no Guatemalan property was destroyed. They were briefed that all areas being destroyed were within Belizean territory and had been verified by the OAS. They were asked to explain this to the Guatemalan civilians. The following day, Saturday, another group of Guatemalan civilians and soldiers accompanied by another commander went to the area where the commander said he was checking on what he had been reported. As had happened the day before, they were informed that they were in Belizean territory, where the illegal farm was. They were told to verify this information with the OAS, after which the group retreated to the hilltop where they watched the operations. There's more news coming up after the break, so stay tuned.
Are you ready? Let's go on an adventure in the West. Tune in to News 5 Live on Friday, July 30th. I am a Belizean traveler. Are you?
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
State Bank and the Port of Magical Belize will face off in the Supreme Court on September 30th, following leave being granted earlier this week for Port Coral to file application for judicial review. But while that legal matter is several weeks away from being heard, News 5 has been combing through an environmental compliance plan for the State Bank project that was completed in August 2017. There is more information being revealed from our look at the 22-page document. Here is News 5's Isani Caetano.
When ground was broken for construction to begin at State Bank in February 2019, developer Michael Feinstein did not foresee that another competitor would be seeking to build a similar cruise terminal less than 12 miles away. With permission being granted for the Port of Magical Belize to be built on the mainland not far from the Sibun River, the principals for both facilities have been locked in a legal battle. On Monday, Justice Lisa Schumann granted leave for Port Coral to file an application for judicial review to determine whether government acted lawfully in approving an environmental impact assessment as well as an environmental compliance plan to Portico, the parent company for Port of Magical Belize. In the wake of that decision, a number of questions are being raised in respect of Port Coral's compliance with its ECP. The environmental compliance plan requires that all developers must conform to environmental laws, regulations, standards, and other requirements such as site permits to operate. The ECP under which State Bank is operating stipulates, quote, that no further development will take place outside of what has been proposed there without the prior written consent or permission of the Department of the Environment, unquote. The contract or definitive agreement between State Bank Enterprises Limited and the government of Belize states that Feinstein and his company agreed to limit ancillary developments for the use and entertainment of tourists on the island to 16 acres. The ECP only limits the expansion of State Bank by 2 acres. However, from an aerial perspective, it appears that the island has expanded considerably. When imposed on this existing map, a previous geographic diagram illustrating the size of the island indicates that it has indeed expanded due to further developments. Has State Bank Enterprises Limited obtained written permission for this expansion? Likewise, a 66-foot reserve is part of the requirement under the ECP. However, it appears that a number of structures have been erected within that buffer. Has written permission been sought and obtained from the Department of the Environment and the Lands and Survey Department? Has there been any consideration for long-term monitoring of sedimentation and erosions, and have these results, if any, been submitted to the Department of the Environment and the Geology Department? News 5 attempted to get in touch with Chief Environmental Officer Martin Alegria today, but our efforts were futile. These, nonetheless, are just a few questions being raised having perused the 22-page document that is the Environmental Compliance Plan for State Bank Key. The ECP was approved in August 2017. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
Currently, 3 Belize Defense Force officers are positive for the COVID-19 virus. Lieutenant Colonel Velasquez confirmed that around 42% of BDF soldiers have been vaccinated to date, and that this represents a significant increase from a few weeks ago. But is it enough? Especially since Statutory Instrument 72 mandates that as of Sunday, August 1st, officers who have not been vaccinated must present a negative COVID test every 2 weeks.
Since the last time I spoke to the media, we had about 10% vaccinated. Right now, it's a very high number. We have probably, and I'm just guessing at this point in time, but we have probably about 40% of the soldiers vaccinated. Since recent weeks, many soldiers have been lining up to get the vaccine. The medic centers are always full every day that we offer the vaccine. So a huge number of soldiers are either taking the vaccine or have taken the vaccine. The ones that are out in the field, they rotate. So every 2 weeks, they get to come out. Okay, so most of them in the field right now have already taken the vaccine. Okay, so that's not a problem at all.
After the break, Bishop Bengushe explains why the Council of Churches is against marijuana legalization. Hear his views when we return. But first, here is a look at the latest COVID-19 figures. This COVID update is brought to you by Belize Medical Associates. This COVID update was brought to you by Belize Medical Associates.
We all find ourselves reminiscing on life before COVID-19, roaming freely, embracing without concern, laughing and enjoying the splendors of life. My, how we miss those times. It's time to get vaccinated so we can all start doing the things we love with the people we love in the safest possible manner once again. Digi, Moyona Resorts, and the Ministry of Health encourages all Belizeans to get your first and second vaccine for chances to win tons of awesome prizes now through September 30th. Win free LTE data packages every week, cash prizes, and a free 1-year mobile postpaid plan, each month courtesy of Digi. Plus a weekend family getaway at a Mayono Gold Standard Resort each month, courtesy Mayono Resorts. Winners will be posted on Digi Facebook and Instagram, and Ministry of Health's Facebook every Friday starting June 25th. Visit a vaccination center nearest you today. Get vaccinated and win. Visit livedigi.com for more details.
Let me show you how it's done.
Bye. I can see this still work.
Why go to strong?
What the?
Hey, Belly Stout got a new label. Bartender, 4 Belly Stout with a new label on it. Now that's how it's done.
That's the sound of fuel efficiency. Every day, every time, I choose Una Fuels, powered with Dynamax. Una, a brand committed with the future.
What does live and let live mean to you?
Live and let live means everyone having the freedom to be themselves.
Live and let live means that I can be a mother and have a career.
It means treating people the way you would want to be treated.
And making sure your business is accessible for all Belizeans.
It means that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
It means to love your children no matter what.
It means to support people who face discrimination.
It means that men and women should be treated equally at work.
It means that everyone is able to contribute to building Belize.
It means saying no to all forms of discrimination.
It means love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Last month, my father passed away due to COVID-19. My father was not vaccinated. He was not. To be truthful, the things he would have said would be the things that we're hearing around town. But there were also some of the other things, some of the other myths that really I was trying to tell him, no, Daddy, you need to get your vaccine. But I couldn't convince him in time.
I think what they're doing is a disservice to this country. In my mind, what they're doing is creating fear among people when they should be spreading a message of hope. What I hear them say has no basis, no scientific basis for the assertions they're making. And more than anything else, there's no legal basis for their assertion.
Would he have gotten that vaccine, he would still be here cracking his jokes and being his fun, crazy self, and we really miss him.
It's time to put your TVs on lockdown. COVID won't stop us this time. After a year of waiting, Summerfest is back, pandemic style. If you're under the age of 18 and you think you have the talent, we are looking for you. Submit videos to us on Facebook, Instagram, and email. Or join us here at Channel 5 on Coney Drive to audition from July 26th to 30th from 10 a.m. to midday. Be a part of Summerfest 2021 and show Belize your talent.
The Belize Council of Churches, having consulted regionally with its counterparts in the Caribbean, has put forward a definitive position on the proposed legalization of marijuana. The religious organization is steadfast in its stance against government's decision to eventually allow for the cultivation, trade, and consumption of cannabis. On Tuesday, the representative body issued a statement on the controversial issue. Earlier today, News 5 spoke with Bishop Moses Bengushe, who also represents the religious community in the upper house. According to the senator, the Belize Council of Churches will not be lending support to GOB's proposed legislation.
The church, based on what has been presented, will not be able to support the legislation and anything else that comes out from the government concerning the legalization of marijuana in the present format. And so we made that known from the beginning. And we have stated what are some of the consequences of the legalization of marijuana in the country at this time. It is not only the social issues, but you would recognize that it also deals with the health issues, also the psychological factor, as it has to do with the use of marijuana. And so all these things put together does concern the church as a part of its position and why we came to that position. I can speak, I know that the evangelicals, for example, will speak for themselves, but they are quite clear as to what their position is, insofar as understanding the fact that it will not only affect us and affect the society, but it is a whole health concern, and it is where we are as the body of the church, on the understanding that the body is the temple of the Lord. But in addition to that, the kind of dialogue that the church has had has not stemmed from recent things, but the church over the years has also involved itself in the study and the use of marijuana. And so it is not that we have arbitrarily come up with a decision, but it is the fact that we have seen what has happened in other countries.
The ongoing discussion on marijuana legalization has led to progressive views being shared in the public discourse. As open-minded as those opinions may be, the Council of Churches maintains that there should be certain constraints. Bishop Moses Bengushe explains.
Liberalism has its dynamics, but also its limitations. There are some things in society that some people would like to do, and they will call that liberalism, but is it within the framework of the law and the ambit of society? Is it good for society? These are some of the things that we must in Belize begin to ask, and it involves the use of marijuana and the ill effect insofar as health and society is concerned. And so as we speak of liberalism, liberalism must also be taken in its context and in its dynamics. And one have to be careful not to use liberalism loosely, lest next thing you know we become a lawless society. And I believe that the church is there to be able to help spearhead the whole issue of law, the whole issue of spirituality, and the whole issue of discipline. And the church is a voice, not only insofar as the factor of the spiritual things are concerned, but the social ills of society.
The Council of Churches was equally vocal on the issue of the 10% pay cut that teachers and public officers will be getting for the next 3 years. For them, the bone of contention with the Briceño administration is that it appears to have been disingenuous when it stated recently that the deduction from teachers' salaries was a decision made by management. Senator Bengushe was part of that discussion in Parliament.
The position of the church at the beginning and from the beginning, and I go on record as the senator representing the church in the Senate, to say that when we were first approached on 2 different occasions, the church body was approached to support what was being put forward, but what was being put forward by the government insofar as the 10% was concerned, and why. And we asked for some time to sit down and to think it through, and we did. And we came up with the decision that we would support what was being put forward by the government insofar as sacrificial giving was concerned. And I continue to use that word and emphasize that word, sacrificial, and it was to be across the board for everybody. That was the understanding and the agreement that was made with the church leaders. But in recent times, we have had cause to wonder if that is what will continue to take place or what is happening even now. Because we have had cause to see that that aspect, in a sense, I would careful to use the word, has been breached, in a sense. And those have drawn our concerns why it was important for us to bring out a press release at this time.
Just ahead, some enterprising young boys tackle the city's dirtiest cars, a car wash manned by an 11 and 13-year-old, when we come back.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband, plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
Boy, Belly King got a new label.
Why watch this?
Yo. This is my beer.
Belikin, the beer of Belize.
What is climate change? Climate change, or global warming, as defined by the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, is said to be the process of our planet heating up. The Earth has warmed by an average of 1 degree Celsius in the last century, and although that might not sound like much, it means big things for humans and wildlife around the globe. Rising temperatures is making our weather more extreme and unpredictable. Some impacts of climate change in Belize are flooding, drought, unstable weather patterns, and changes in seasons that affect agriculture, human, and wildlife activities. What is REDD+? REDD+ is a mitigation activity to reduce carbon emissions and increase carbon stock in the forest sector. The name REDD+ stands for Reducing Emission from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, plus Conservation, Sustainable Management of Forest and Carbon Stock Enhancement. How can REDD+ be a solution? Trees breathe the greenhouse gases we produce. We can start caring more for our forests by planting more trees and keeping our landscapes intact. Our forests are part of the solution. Also, by encouraging the adoption of sustainable forest management in Belize, we can help restore forests that have been lost.
Forests are linked to all aspects of human well-being. Think about the clean air that forests provide, that oxygen that we breathe. If it wasn't so clean, especially during that fire season, we would actually be facing a lot of problems. So breathing clean air is something that we may take for granted, but it's actually something that forest provides and that contributes to our health and happiness. One of the advantages of doing things associated with REDD Plus in Belize is that it actually is a great mechanism for us to be able to maintain forests while at the same time sustainably using them and keeping all the services and goods that the forest provides to us intact, for example, water. At night, it's the trees and the plants in the forest that actually release that water that goes up in the atmosphere and eventually comes back as rain. If we don't have forests, that water is gone. If we think about our food security and the food that we eat, the agriculture industry and how important it is for Belize, we don't necessarily associate it sometimes with actual forests. But it's those forests that actually feed the soil organisms that cycle the nutrients and make our soils fertile. It's those forests that are a house and home for pollinators that pollinate our crops. And it's those forests that maintain the water that our agricultural areas need to thrive. Otherwise, we would be subject to things like droughts.
There is hope with REDD Plus.
Have you ever wondered about the effects that traumatic stresses have on children? Professionals who engage with Belize's youth found out today how to identify when a child is acting out due to a traumatic event they may have experienced at home or are going through within the community that they live. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
It is a public health issue. Right? A lot of us like to think it's just in our homes. Right? But trauma is all around us, and each and every one of us will react differently to these things.
Trauma is defined as an emotional response to a terrible event like an accident, sexual assault, gun violence, losing a loved one to sickness or natural disaster. And while for the most part as adults we learn coping mechanisms, it can have a spiraling effect on minors, triggering behavioral issues. In Belize, children, just by way of where they live, are oftentimes exposed to traumatic experiences, and it takes an individual and even a village to address it. Today, professionals from different walks of life learned about practical techniques, building positive relationships, and reducing stress and anxiety levels.
A lot of the kids really are experiencing a lot of trauma because of gang violence and intimate or gender-based violence in the home, parental incarcerations, and things like that that could disrupt their development.
The workshop was organized by Meta Belize. It is a private practice dedicated to ensuring professional development and offers a safe space for people who need help in psychotherapy and counseling. As a licensed clinical social worker and educator, Azalia Lariu feels that child traumatic stress has a lot to do with the community.
It is anything that overwhelms your capacity to cope. So if you can't wake up in the morning and feel like to brush your teeth, get up and look, put your makeup on and go to work, you know, you probably were affected somehow by something that's happening to you. All right, so, and that could be, as you said, very different for everyone. So it could be just that loud noise, that shouting that's happening. We see it a lot in children. So we see aggressive behaviors in children, all right? We see things like they don't want to listen, but it may be that it's not that they don't want to listen, but it's that they cannot concentrate because of all the things that are happening.
Addressing the issue is about understanding that a behavioral issue may very well be a defense mechanism developed by a child, and there is need to regulate that child's emotions.
It disrupts our emotional regulation system. And so you probably get someone who's unable to control their behaviors and they act out violently or aggressively simply because they're constantly thinking they're in a state of fear, right? And so trauma creates this feeling that you're always needing to protect yourself, protect your environment, and so you're fearful to trust people. And so you're always in this defense mechanism.
We're looking at mental wellness as well. For example, clinical social workers look at a biopsychosocial aspect. So it's not about, I'm going to diagnose you on, okay, you have ADHD. It's nothing wrong with you. Something happened, and we're going to work it out.
The significance of trauma experiences and how early childhood development really shapes our life outcomes. And really and truly, it's important to understand just how we need to nurture children growing up, because the trauma that they experience in childhood really determines whether or not they're able to function and cope with everyday life stressors.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
News 5 viewers enjoy our features on entrepreneurs and new businesses, but it is not often that we get to bring you a new venture run by children. Today, Paul Lopez met two young men who are energetically cleaning, washing and waxing cars they themselves are too young to even drive.
11-year-old Myrick August and 13-year-old Reginald Hardiman are neighboring best friends with a lot of free time on their hands. To make use of all that free time, these teenage boys decided to open a car wash.
We may get my friend pour a wash, right? And then we think how we could make money with it and like wash car thing. So we say we do that. So then we got that neighbor and we ask for wash the car, then that we start.
We see a lot of people, a lot of kids that up on the street, and we go try to get off it, so we know get into violence and so.
The two boys operate from Myrick's grandmother's yard on Farbers Road.
Well, interior and basic wash. Then we have carpet cleaning, waxing and stuff. Wax, we clean the window and stuff. We clean off the dashboard and thing. Then we vacuum like the bottom part of the vehicle. They use the power washer spray it down, then one time we finish up with us. This thing and then we have soap it and then we wash it off after that.
Now this take a lot of energy, right? Where you get all that energy from for do all of this?
So time as I sing, I go to shop, I go buy like dollar sweet, as I sing, I eat all of them there. Then I go try to start back.
The grandmother, Marceline Reyes, says initially the boys were made fun of for washing cars, but she encouraged them to follow through with their plans.
As a retired teacher and mother and grandmother, I was very excited to help him to in his endeavor. He's always willing to make money. So we teach him that you have to work to make money.
These young entrepreneurs do not own their own equipment. They are operating on a borrowed inventory. One of their goals is to one day own their own equipment. You got a school?
Yes, sir.
What class you now?
I'm going to standard 6.
Alright, so how we know I work the business when school open back? What are the plans?
We only wash car per weekends. We employ other people, but we also get a lot of money so we could pay them.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Just ahead, a blast from the past, Simone Biles' visit to Belize after 2016 Olympics when we return. But first, here is a weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
Electricity is an essential part of our daily lives. We use lights and household appliances every day. Therefore, we must ensure our homes are wired properly. At Benny's, we have certified wires with the right gauges and insulation, BEL certified meter sockets, authentic GE and square D panel boxes and breakers which protect the wires inside your home from being overloaded. When wiring your home, avoid imitation brands which can be very dangerous. Give yourself and your family peace of mind using genuine electrical products available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Hola, Tony.
Hey, Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esta es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate, man.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800 A Way Out or our cell phone number 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize with funding from the Engender and Spotlight Project.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
Many Belizeans who have been following the 2021 Summer Olympics in Tokyo were surprised when an athlete so many of us root for, Simone Biles, withdrew from events due to her concern for her mental health and well-being. This includes today's announcement that she will not participate in the final individual all-around competition. As developments continue to unfold with her current Olympic dreams, tonight News 5 brings you a story we aired in 2016, a few months after her Olympic performance that year, when she won 5 gold medals, including Best All-Around Gymnast. Biles, who has family ties to Belize and holds dual citizenship, arrived on December 22nd to spend the holidays with loved ones and get in some much-needed downtime, including another sport she loves, fishing. As you will hear, during a press conference for her arrival, Biles addressed the pressures she faced to be the best. Andrea Polanco and intern Maria Renault reports.
It was full pomp and circumstance for Simone Biles. She was met and greeted by government officials at the Philip Golson Airport and escorted down to the Biltmore Hotel for a press conference. The usually chipper five-time Olympic medalist shared what she loves about Belize and the things she is looking forward to. Those include fishing and some rice and beans.
I do go fishing. Belize is the only place I fish. I don't really fish back at home because I think it's special to come here and fish, and it's something we've always done since I was a little girl whenever we used to come here.
Favorite foods?
Oh yeah, that is my favorite. Rice and beans. That is my favorite. My mom makes it back home too, so. I think it's time for a vacation, so that's why we came down here with the family to spend time with it. And then maintaining my body shape and everything. We went on tour right after the Olympics, and it was like for 2 months, so we were still working out on the tour and doing shows. But then since then, I've kind of had a break on my body, and I'm gonna take some time off from gymnastics before I start back into it.
Now, if you look at your time here, will you be able to indulge as you wish?
Yes. Yes.
You're not traveling with a fitness coach?
No, I'm by myself, so that's good.
Minister of Tourism Manuel Heredia Jr. says that Biles' connection with and love for Belize prompted them to offer her a free vacation, one that she readily accepted.
Despite her soaring aspirations and glorious achievements, Simone still took time out to remind not only her family and friends, but indeed the world of her Belizean connection, placing Belize even higher on the world stage. As a result, we at the Ministry of Tourism and the Belize Tourism Board saw it only fit to extend an invitation to Simone and the final after the Rio Olympics concluded to not only celebrate their historic accomplishment this past year, but also for them to truly experience the Belizean lifestyle, and even better now, the Belizean Christmas. Imagine our excitement when Simone replied accepting our invitation with a response of, "My second home, you better believe we are coming."
And once she arrived, she wasn't short on words of wisdom for young Belizeans. As the author of a new book about her life, she says it's important for each person to tell his or her own story, and that the road to success comes with its challenges.
I would say to never give up, and I know that there will be hard days, some harder than others, but you can always push through it, and it's amazing how mind over matter is. It is pretty crazy how strong your mind can be when you put yourself, you say you want to do something and then you can achieve it.
You recently released Courage to Soar. Talk to us a little about that and why it was important for you to tell your story via book.
I think it was important to inspire other kids that they read my story, they can do anything, just like I said that as a kid. But other than that, I thought it was different how everyone told my story for me, so I thought it was a very good idea for me to tell it myself and for them to read it and to just hear it from me, because I think that's the most important rather than everybody telling it for me.
If a Belizean child should read your book, what would you want him or her to take away from that?
That even professional or elite athletes, we all go through something in our life, even though it doesn't seem like it, because we are successful, but we still have bumps in the road too as well.
A member of Biles' welcoming party was Deputy PM and Minister of Education and Sports, Patrick Faber. He says that Biles should be an inspiration for the entire country, despite that some quarters are not receptive of the nation's response to Biles.
There are times, for instance, when Belizeans at home frowned on Belizeans who are living abroad as having left Belize, and in fact, they contribute very little. And when we know that this isn't the case all the time, a lot of us depend on remittances from abroad. I say this to point out that the contributions of our Belizeans living abroad is as important to Belize's development as is the contribution that each of us who live in Belize make on a daily basis. And that should never be discounted. And I'll tell you, even though she doesn't reside here, she's Belizean and more Belizean than some of us who live in Belize, which is the case, you know that. So let's give her family and her a round of applause. You are a star for everybody else, but for us here, you are an extremely bright, shining star, an inspiration to many of our young people. And I want to tell you there are some people who will have a few negative things to say. Let us deal with that. You know, I've been watching on Facebook, so, oh, the people who are local here and this, that, we don't do this, that, that. Listen, as I've said, we are Belizean no matter where we are.
And Biles knows this all too well. She said that while the opportunities and successes are blessings, sometimes it can get overwhelming. A day ago, she tweeted that she has been feeling emotional lately. It's due to all the attention.
I guess it's just hard being in the limelight a lot and everyone is judging everything I do, so sometimes I wish it wasn't like that, because to me it's just like I just went to the Olympics like it was my goal, but I didn't think it should be blown up as much as it did, so I just kind of wish it was a little bit on the down low, but it's fine.
Following a welcome reception at the Biltmore, a motorcade of local athletes, the BTB, and other groups left off via the Philip Golson Highway and made its way onto the Central American Boulevard, down Cemetery Road, and into downtown Belize City, and culminated at the Battlefield Park with a short program. Maria Renault for News 5.
Our Belizean athletes currently in Tokyo are Samantha Dirks, Sean Gill, and Amado Cruz. Their athletic and canoe events are scheduled to begin this weekend. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I am Brighton Codd. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.